In this episode, we're joined by Amanda DiGaspari and Austin Simmons, CEO and COO at Storagely. Storagely began by turning a broken checkout flow into tripled online rentals. That moment pulled them from agency life into building a focused, conversion-driven self-storage website platform. As AI reshapes online discovery, Amanda and Austin are reshaping storage websites along with it. Let's dive right in. So we got Amanda and Austin from the Storagely crew. Welcome to Self Storage Lab. Really pumped to have you guys.
Coming. Good to have
Very
you.
cool to be here.
And we've got the fake backgrounds, but you guys have like the real deal, like physical podcast studio going on with the mics
basically
coming in
means
from
we
the
do this a
side.
lot. So
All the time. The wait list
Nice.
for us
It
to
looks
be on
really
the
good,
podcast.
guys. We're excited to have you guys on the pod.
And it's actually like your Storagely is actually like the light behind it. It looks
yeah. Thank
I
you.
mean, too bad it's our old logo.
Yeah, too bad. Our legacy logo,
our-
Amanda. Yeah.
Yeah, it's classic.
nobody needs to know that, but hey, all right.
Well, we're all about
I mean,
transparency here. So
we're good with it.
Okay, cool. So just to kick it off, for folks that don't know Storagely and don't know you guys, etc., do you guys like mind just each of you sharing a bit of your journey and how you ended up in this wonderful industry, self-storage and marketing tech or website tech, I guess?
Yeah, this is a fun story. I love hearing how people kind of stumble into the industry. I feel like there's the lifers, or like it's a family thing, or it's I've discovered self-storage and what a wonderful industry it is, and we fall in that category. So before we were Storagely, we were a digital marketing agency, and we specialized in helping local businesses perform online, very centric to the homeowner, right? So like plumbers, roofers, landscapers, things like that. We'd build them new websites, improve the user experience, focusing on hyperlocal SEO, roofers near me, landscaper near me type of thing. We had a customer come to us that was in self-storage, and it lent itself very well to what we were very good at. So we built a new website for that self-storage company, optimized for SEO, got their traffic real good, lots of traffic online, but we were not happy with the checkout flow. That was a third-party plugin situation on the WordPress site. So we were like, hey, why don't you give us a shot? We would do this a little different, maybe a lot different. And they gave us a shot. We turned off that plugin and turned on the tool that we had built. And within a month, it was like 3 times the amount of online rentals that they were getting. So we're like, okay, maybe this is something that we package and we offer to more people. Initially, we thought it would be a plugin too, but then we're like, wait, it's not just the checkout flow; it's the optimized websites, the great user experience. It's some marketing tools that we've done with the banner rental recovery and things like that. So it started out like a stumbling into a checkout flow and turned into a more well-rounded, scalable software
ecosystem, everything working together.
Yeah. How did you get here?
This morning or this storage?
Yeah, I would like to know.
I heard from the grapevine that, I mean, just to give a little bit more, Amanda, you're like marketing, branding, and technical photography on the side. Austin, the wear of many hats, creative director, audiophile, and maybe a hairstylist at some point. Like
Absolutely
that's just,
hairstylist.
Right? Just for the
my God.
just for the I have a long history in marketing, about 14 years doing marketing specifically, and brand strategy, content strategy and creation, videography and production, as well as audio production is a big background of mine. And
Musician.
I played music all my life. But just kind of a creative, anything creative. When people are like, what do you do? All creative things and Storagely.
It's interesting though, because he's like the most type A creative person I've ever met. Like he's so well organized and structured, but also creative genius.
I'm not sure how that happened, but I'm very appreciative that it did.
Me too.
Yeah, because it's taken me many places and many forms, and then here at Storagely too, I get to put all the creative strategy to work, as well with what we do too. And then also, technically my title is a chief of staff. I started here as the chief marketing officer. I've worn both hats for a little bit, but I basically lead our team, and I'm, over all the people now. So
You're a great connector.
yes, I think so.
I think so.
Yeah. Great connector.
I think so too. I agree.
Thank you.
I think I'm curious, like in those early days where y'all were doing a lot of like, and maybe, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, you're kind of like an agency model, right? Early days of like transitioning from an agency to an actual product like you are today. Can you just touch on like those
signs where you actually saw traction with your customer base and you're like telling each other, hey, I think we have something. I think it's working. Something's working.
Something is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, I mean, obviously a very big decision to be like, okay, we're going to go all in on storage. And we knew nothing about self-storage really. I mean, I've been a customer, I suppose, but definitely oversimplified. It's such a funny thing to have it be such a very simple concept. It is, but there are also many layers that need to be considered, and every operator does things just a little bit different. So learning that in the last four years or so has been a journey. But anyway, we were like, okay, well, how can we were very excited about the idea of not needing to learn a new industry with every customer. So we were very good at like applying our hyper-local strategies to different industries, but we could be even better if we really niched down into self-storage and got to know one industry really well. But then we were like, wait a minute, what is this that we have? This software piece, like we were very good at building sites through WordPress, but we realized that if we wanted to continue to innovate at the speed that we want to innovate, if we wanted to apply everything that we are learning to all of our customers and have everyone benefit without needing to rebuild for every customer site, we needed to build a SaaS product. So that was a fun journey to explore and shift our development mindset from WordPress web design to, all right, how do we integrate with these management softwares and how do we innovate quickly and build this in a way that everyone can benefit? So did that even answer your question? Did that answer?
I think it was a good segue into digging a
She
little
says
deeper.
no, but
No, but it's a great transition.
we can answer that
you
too.
guys crushed it. I want to dig a little deeper though. I think it's like easy when you're looking back at connecting the dots and going, hey, these are the decisions that we made, the right decisions that we made to get us to the point that we're at today. Like when you guys look back at the beginning, I'm really curious about mistakes or false starts that maybe happened early on that you guys still reflect on today as like lessons learned, like things to continue to stay away from. Anything come to mind?
How much time?
How far back?
I like the little.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we each have different perspectives too of kind of the journey of the company in itself, because years ago I came on and partnered with Storagely when it was kind of the marketing agency form that we talked about, and helped them launch a video production department and was basically a leadership coach to the staff, as well as sat in an advisor role to the executive team. And I remember when Amanda was hired and having coaching sessions with her. So obviously I'm super proud now for her to actually be my boss. That's like a star I put at the top of the tree. I'll have a little Christmas reference there. But back in those days, I mean, there were a lot of growing pains. I think one of the best decisions we made at one point to help stop us from, I think, making some recurring mistakes, if you will, was really sitting down and focusing in on actually writing down, what is the like vision and mission of our company? What are the values? Like, what is the guiding force behind the direction that we want to go? So we have a baseline to start and we can move from there. And then, what's the data that we're reading that's going to help us make informed decisions, moving forward, not necessarily just, okay, well, this industry or this client has come to us. What can we offer them? What can we do? How can we make this the best experience? How can we kind of like mold ourselves to fit what they need? And having a really, really deeper understanding of our identity and what we, could bring to the table, who we were as a company, was a big part, I think, of what allowed us to be able to read the writing on the wall to even get into self-storage to begin with. But specifically a mistake, I'm going to put that in quotes because I'm glad that it happened. But I mean, this is one of the more recent things for us. When we came into the Storagely, like Amanda was saying, we were trying to figure out how to market the fact that we weren't, just a website, but there's this ecosystem of tools that make your online presence successful. And so, we came into the area marketing ourselves as, this SaaS product, which we are, but going to trade shows and trying to talk to self-storage operators about just another piece of software that they needed is almost how that translated. I guess about a year or a year and a half ago at this point, we went back to the drawing board and said, okay, what is just the clearest, simplest way to describe what we do, and in a way to where self-storage operators understand that this is a necessity for them. And it's like, okay, well, just another piece of software, may not seem like a necessity to some, but every self-storage operator understood whether they were checking a box and getting, a free offering, or they were going to another vendor and paying for it. Everybody needed a website. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and decided, okay, this is how we need to describe, Storagely to people. We're not a marketing agency that offers a website. We're not a SaaS product that involves a website as a part of an ecosystem. Storagely is going to be the best website option for you. You need a website. We want people to think of Storagely. And then also we have these things that work in tandem with your website, but the website is the starting point. And that's something I think we got wrong in the beginning and have pivoted since.
It was also an interesting journey. Oh God.
No, I was just going to say, I appreciate the, a little bit more of the background here. And, I think it's appropriate time too, with a lot of the things that Austin was kind of mentioned on, is just like, to give Amanda a big hat tip. Congratulations. I know recently we've taken over the CEO role at Storagely. And so, I don't know exactly where you're going to go, Amanda, but I'm curious, like, as you've transitioned from one role to that CEO hat, like, what are maybe some of the challenges that you faced over the last, say 6 months? I forget exactly when that was announced. Kind of curious just to kind of go into like what that transition has looked like as we kind of come into present day of where you guys are, and then we can think about what the future looks like for Storagely and the online presence community that you guys are building.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'll figure it out. I'll figure out the answer to that. No, there's a there's a lot of man, the amount of time that I'm not asking you. I'm going to turn the question around on you guys. I'm so interested to hear the types of mistakes that you're learning the most from, because I think those are the most interesting stories. And boy, we could sit here and talk all day, but I don't necessarily think they're mistakes either, because we learn from them every time, right? So back to your question, Mason, of like, hey, what's been the challenge this year or in the last 6 months or whatever? It has been actually related to what Austin was just saying of where is the biggest need, like just kind of like taking that step back and be like, okay, well, I'm noticing that there's a need here that nobody's really filling well. And how do we speak to that? It was very easy for us to step into self-storage and be like, you need help with marketing too? We've got a whole team. We can do that. We can help you with that. Saying no to people, saying, no, we're not going to do, we want to focus on one thing and do it very, very well and continue to outperform ourselves and innovate. Like, we're our biggest competition in that way, right? So how can we do that with both marketing and a product? There's so much that we could do and uncover and unpack. In the same way that I was just saying about, oh, well, we did marketing, but we did it for all these different industries and you had to learn a new industry every time. We were excited to be able to narrow down into self-storage and get really hyper-focused on that and just unpack it and do it better and better. Same here, right? So that's been a journey of like the patterns that I've been seeing and having these conversations with all different types of operators of like, oh, well, we have a marketing team in-house, or we do this or we do that. And I just need access to a website platform. Can I just, what do you guys do for website? Can I log in and make these edits? Or can I have my managers go on and update it that there's an event coming in locally that we're sponsoring or something like that? So that's exciting because it's been very validating in a time where there's been a lot of change, there's been a lot of growth, there's been a lot of exciting new things happening. But every show that we've gone to recently, I've walked away feeling more and more validated that we're heading in the right direction and really providing something that is valuable and really not out there. So that challenge, I guess, speaking specifically to the challenge of like, okay, how do I know this whole history, this whole path that we've been on? Do I take that history and the knowledge and what we're capable of and then really focus it in on what's going to serve our customers best?
Nice. I've got one more question to kind of set the stage before we kind of get into the story arc of the podcast and get into some of the meat and potatoes. We're still in the appetizer phase right now, but you guys, we kind of touched on it early on. You guys are sitting in front of what I consider a really nice logo, but you've recently rebranded, right? And so I'm kind of curious, like, what's the why behind the rebrand, and like, what's that signaling? Maybe internally to you guys, but also more importantly, probably like externally to the market.
There's a few pieces to this, right? First of all, I think anything that happens that happens organically, right? This, oh, we have a customer that's in self-storage and we built this thing and oh, it's taking off and we're going to go where the success is or where it feels right or what seems to be the most valuable. At the time, we were like, oh, let's get a logo up quick. Let's really see if this takes off. We went to that first trade show and our first trade show ever. And then for that first trade show ever to be a fall Vegas show for SSA, Brian and I were like,
you didn't
what have
jump
we done?
into the deep end of the pool at all, did you?
Which I remember you guys were the booth literally right next to us at the time. Anyway, going from that stage where we're like, okay, well, let's just go here. We think this is cool, but do you people that would use the software think it's cool? Do you think it's valuable? Just put our ear to the ground. And then again, go where it feels the most right. So this initial logo was intentional, but it was also quick because again, let's just see how this goes. And then when we started to sunset the marketing agency portion and really focus in on Storagely product, and with this transition happening internally with, Brian taking that step back, me stepping into the different role, like just kind of was like, okay, we need a fresh start. It looks very similar and there are reasons, like the strategy behind this logo is much more intentional, like the connection piece that you see between the two different portions of the new logo, which, man, I should hold up a sticker or something to show you that they're very similar, but clean and fresh. And
cue the flash of like some type of a thing to come over and post to like show the new logo.
Yeah, and the pod, we can have like you do those really cool logo reveal things. Just like, anyway.
I could probably send y'all something if you need.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so there's that portion of it. So like a internal representation of like, okay, we're grounded. We're sure we have this solid ground, solid foundation. Let's clean up and let's focus and do things with more intention. And then externally to like the industry, to the clients, to everyone else, it's just like, okay, we're still here. We're still the same. The concept is solid and has been since the very beginning, but let's take it to the next level. Let's really, now that we've had this time to identify who we are and what we do, let's have something that represents that.
Yeah,
I'm interested to hear your perspective on it too.
I think a logo is a very like sacred, part of a brand. I've taken a lot of companies through brand identity, vision and values and things like that. And there are just so many people who have, a logo or a brand mark. That was just in the same boat that we were in of like, okay, we need something professional to, put on shirts and hats on our website and be able to like sell this viable product. But really, what does it say about us and what makes it a timeless representation of what, who we are, what we want to bring to the industry. This logo and brand also came before we kind of reset the, vision of Storagely as well. And, we have a cool story of how that happened. I don't know if y'all want to hear that or not, but basically this came first. So after we had reset really all these guiding boundaries for our company and what we're, training our staff in as far as like our culture, what we value, what we don't, just who we are as a company, we needed something to represent that better, that we really, really felt like was a good brand identity for us and not just a logo. So from a creative standpoint, that's where a lot of that came from too. And then, Amanda spoke to it representing connection and integrate much better in the visual of, how the S is built. And that's what we're really trying to represent, in the industry and bring as a part of our product is connection, integration, partnerships with great companies that, where we can all do what we do best and work together to serve the industry in a more efficient way. And all of that we felt like was represented better with, our new brand.
But a little story that I probably haven't like told like public channels is, really early on in the swivel like life cycle, we spent a ton of time like talking about who we were and what we were going to do. And like, we didn't know self-storage was going to be the future, but like we understood like the problems that we were going to go solve. And, part of the reasons that we picked the word swivel was just like the movement in the word, that it was action oriented. We knew that, human in the loop AI was always going to be the answer. And this was, 2017. Going in 18 and fast forward around like kind of brand and logo, Kyle obviously has designed everything in our business to date. And I remember his design process is, very much like these like hundreds of iterations on a page, like kind of cascading down and over in Sketch and whatnot. So long story short is like, I remember, probably 1 week him showing me X number of iterations of something. I was like, this one. And then like the next week we're in Dallas, Texas, and at a buddy of mine's house is what we used for our office for the week at the time. And I don't even remember why we were in Dallas, but I remember going in the kitchen. He's like, hey, I've got a couple of like colors and things like that. And so we looked at some that were green, and we looked at some that were whatever. And I saw the orange one with the reds and the yellows kind of going through it. And I was like, that's it. Don't do another thing to it. Ship it. And like, that's kind of been it for.
That's a designer's dream.
Yeah.
For someone to just be like, that one, ship it. We don't need to do 15 rounds of edits.
We're gonna have to pull up all the different logo variations as well.
Yeah. The last little tidbit that I'll put there is like, owls are our thing these days, right? And we were very intentional about owls too. But before we picked an owl, we had, all these different animals that we were looking at. And one of the ones that I like couldn't leave, and it's still in the back of my head, was otters, like just like this playful otter that would like circles itself and stuff. But, really stoked about owls and love the direction we're going. But we did have some early stage otter designs and stuff like that as a master.
You've had other companies in the past, right? You've always had an animal representation.
It's not been an animal. I think, so I've been in conversational AI for, going on 12 years now. And so I think like there was always this like, okay, you've got your logo mark, and then you've got like whatever the internal character was that would be the initial talker, right? Like with the last business, we had a series of what we called we people, when they were just various blobs and things like that, kind of like a Headspace-esque, right? They're not really people, but they're like different shapes and stuff, and they had characters and personas and stuff. And so coming into Swivel, I knew that I wanted something like that. Like, we're going to put a chatbot on our website, and we're going to put it inside of our tool, or we need to have a persona that is. And so that's always just been something that I think I've done for the previous businesses. Whether it goes forward with other ventures sometime in the future, who knows? But it's made sense, at least to do what we're doing.
We've been having a similar conversation of we have an internal tool that helps. It's like a knowledge base where we leverage AI to surface answers for our team, for our customers, and how do you use the product, and call it Wingman. And that's a newer thing that we're just exploring, and that will expand. But we're like, how do we make this more personable? How do we make it relatable in the sense of like a little character or something that's like brings personality to it?
Mascot now.
Yeah, we have a little Wingman mascot. And that whole, what you're saying there about the blobs or the animals or whatever, it makes it easier to connect to in some way, that human element.
Totally. I will let Rodolfo get another question in here, but this is kind of bringing us into some of the future state, or like where Storagely is today. I'm curious, in a market where you guys are going to trade shows and you're surrounded by people that maybe don't understand the differentiation between one website and another. Like, what's that thing you guys hang your hat on every single day? I mean, I know you guys have, I think it's new, like the new saying that like, you rent differently, etc. I'm curious, like, what's that thing you guys hang your hat on as a differentiator, and like, how does that like impact, product decisions today, tomorrow, even with the Wingman kind of product feature you guys are working on?
Yeah, that what you just touched on there, that we lead the self-storage industry to rent differently. That's actually been around since we started this logo redesign process of like,
that's the
who
vision.
are we?
Our
vision statement.
It's our guiding force.
Our guiding force, right? And it's actually helped to guide us in exactly this way. It's like, okay, how do we innovate? How do we make sure that we look at websites a little differently from other options out there, right? Like, this is not a brochure. This is not a set it and forget it situation where you build a WordPress site or a standard site and get it up there and it's beautiful and optimized, but not revenue focused or driven. It's not a living, breathing type of, speaking of human elements. It's almost like we're looking at it as part of your team, right? This is not just part of your tech stack. This is a 24/7, 365 manager for you that anybody can log on, run a unit from you, get questions answered, self-serve in any sort of way. And we're also going to be focused more on how do we increase the revenue you can generate through your website continuously. That's one of the things, like, how can we outperform ourselves in that way? That portion here of like, okay, I feel like there's a little bit of re-educating that needs to be happening around your websites, is instead of looking at it as a line item of like, oh gosh, another piece of tech that I got to pay for. I got to pay for a management software. I got to pay for gate stuff. I got to pay for logs. I got to pay for that. This is, wow, what a steal. Mm-hmm. That's all I need to pay to have a a manager do all of these things and generate so much revenue for me every month. Like, great, please. Like, this makes so much sense. When you look at it in that perspective, it's a different way of looking.
Yeah,
How do
there's
you show in that
some
value? What's that like? It's not, is there just like when you log into storage, you see this like revenue generated number? Like, what's that look like to an operator to see that ROI pretty clearly?
Yeah, that's actually, so speaking of learning things, this has been part of the iteration that we're currently working on, of like, okay, well, now that we understand the true focus and where we're always going to be improving, let's surface that data and every feature that we're building. How do we build in reporting to a very like a minute details? Really, like, if you are going to launch a new feature on the checkout flow, how do we understand how that particular feature is working? And how do we attribute revenue to that, right? So being able to log into your Storagely account, just generally saying how much revenue is generated online for you is one thing. But then also being able to say, okay, I've started using this new recommended add-on section, and through that feature alone, I've increased the revenue through my website by X% or whatever it is. We want to be able to really hone in on that data, and then also be able to collect the data through our entire platform so we can surface patterns and interesting things that everyone can benefit from. One of the things that I'm not a storage operator, right? Like, I'm not the person, the boots on the ground. I'm new here to the industry compared to a lot of people, but I have been learning a lot, and I also have this area of expertise, right? So how can I merge the expertise that our team has with user experience, with all of the SEO elements that we build into the foundation of everything that we do? How do we leverage that and merge it with operator knowledge by making our tool very configurable, very like, hey, you do this just a little different from that guy, same tool, different settings, no problem. I want to be able to say like, cool, this is how you operate. And that's great. We've seen generally an increase in X amount for people that use our checkout flow in this way. It's being able to understand with data backed behind it, how do we launch new features, allow our entire customer base to use it however they will, but also maybe be able to educate in that way of like, okay, well, this might be best practice because we see, generally speaking, an increase of revenue for these people. I rambled a bit there, but
yeah.
I love that.
When we first entered, sorry, do you want to go?
No, you're good. You're good. No, you're good. I was just gonna drop, like, when we were in your office looking at your wall, all your like vision statements and mission statements and whatnot. One of them that stood out was showing the work versus guesswork. And so you guys are talking about like how important data is and the analytics showing that, and how you speak about features or product and all that being backed up by that data. You don't see that very often in the industry. So
yeah, we're very data driven, and even more specifically, that's one of the things that kind of led us into the industry. And it was initially, probably, I would say, our biggest differentiator was just our checkout process in general. Coming into an industry where it took, several minutes for somebody to check out, and bringing something to the table where somebody could check out in 30 seconds was a really, really big deal.
it still is.
Yes. And we kind of looked at the difference, or I'm going to say we, I know I did. I think Amanda did too, but
Speak for yourself.
yeah, the words like in case versus because, and where like the data leads us there. And I'll explain that. A lot of people, when they approach their website, when we came into the industry, and a lot still do, building a website that is designed to be there in case someone wants to rent online, right? We design websites because people want to rent online, right? That's very different.
Yeah, you can speak for me on that.
Okay, cool. Even in the roundtable at this last show in Texas, I was talking to owner operators and just explaining the difference. Like, if you had a facility and you were not remotely managed, you have in-person staff, would you be okay putting, a cardboard cutout of a manager behind the desk, so if someone was passing by, it looked like someone was in there in case they wanted to rent, right? Like, that sounds ridiculous, but that's kind of the approach sometimes to the website game. Is if somebody wants to do it, they can, right? But I mean, people want to rent online. I would prefer to do it, and so approaching it, understanding that, like,
Literally never not rented online. I've rented probably
right.
24 storage units.
Like, I don't know. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I'm even like, when was the last time I went to a movie theater and actually bought the ticket there when I showed up? Like, no, like I want to walk in and you scan my code and like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to sit down and I want,
Give me my popcorn.
yeah, give me my
Wait,
popcorn.
you're saying you don't want to talk to somebody through live video to make sure you get your questions answered?
Yeah.
I'm curious, like you're talking about the buyer's experience, renter's experience. A lot of people have talked about it, right? Over the last few years, adopting online rentals has surged, post-pandemic. And, those who optimize their online experience are seeing huge gains. I'm just kind of curious, you guys are in this every day, right? Like what specific areas do you think on the renters side, their expectations, how's that changed maybe this year? And like, where do you think that's going? If you have any hot takes there?
I mean, let's swivel the conversation here, shall we?
Ooh.
I think, ooh, ooh, I think there's some steps here, right? So let's create a tree, shall we? If your website takes a user off to a different website in order to go through a very long checkout flow, the first thing you might want to do is reduce that process time. Let's just start there and optimize the speed of the checkout, make it more consumer friendly. Like, hey, any other website I go to, it looks and feels similar to this. Let me replicate that here. How do we allow for it? People want to text, right? Like people want to be able to communicate with you in the way that they communicate with everyone else. How do we make that something they can do through your website? Let's add a chat feature. Why would we not have a chat feature that is also integrated with your management software and powered by AI? Well, that's a great idea. When we were like, oh, we need to make sure that our customers are equipped with this, and we started to look into doing that ourselves, that we're like, wait a minute, this is a hell of a lot of work, and this is a whole nother team. This is a business structure to do this really well. See, that's the caveat here. Like, yes, I can pop a chat on anybody's website and I can wrap it with, some AI platform, right? But how do I make sure that our customers are seeing the most results from that? And that's where we're like, hey, Swivel, we want all of our customers to benefit from this incredible feature that you have, which is just the tip of the iceberg now of what you guys actually do. But still, like that relates specifically to our platform, right? So you're asking like, how is this different? Well, first, they're going to want to run online. Let's make that really easy for them to do. And how do we make it even more accessible by being able to communicate with them, or, with the tenants in the way that they want to be? That's where the chat comes in. I do think that right now, one of the things that we're looking at is like, hey, why are we going to a location page and just seeing a list of scrolling unit sizes that nobody knows what size unit they have? We need to chat with Swivel. I'm storing all of these things, or and what size do I need in order to do this? Like maybe that process itself is going to change or shift, so it is more conversational, even through the website platform, not just through the chat.
Yeah, well, research is a big trust building aspect as well too. I tell people all the time, if people aren't able to research on your site, they're more than likely going to purchase from the person where they can research on their site, find the answer, and immediately get what they're looking for. So not even from a redirect standpoint, as far as if I'm trying to check out on a website and then I get redirected to a third party, that's a trust breaker for me, especially when everybody's getting scammed online these days. I need to know I'm in the right place if I'm putting credit card information in or something like that. But the research piece is just really big as far as trust building and making sure that people are able to find the answers that they need, get the answers that they need, that it's clear communication. And then as soon as they find the answer, they need to rent then. There used to be the day and age. I mean, I know 20 years ago, when I would go rent a storage unit, I would go in and the manager would have these, lines on the floor, like a basketball court, to show me, what sizes they offered and what might fit, here or there. Well, you don't have the opportunity to do that if, have that in-person communication. And honestly, nobody wants to do that anymore either. So they need to be able to find the answer quickly too. Attention spans are just getting shorter and shorter, obviously, social media trends and things like that. And so they need to be able to find the answer quick, and they need to be able to act right then and there on the call to action. So I think that attention span piece is one of the things that is just consistently changing, and how, when they need to act, how can we be there right there in that moment to get them to convert, not to try to get them back to a location page and then find the unit and then, eventually check out.
I'm curious, like, do you guys, when it comes with like to making product decisions and where you're going, what to build next versus like what not to build, you guys were just touching on that. Do you go as far as like, keeping the end user in mind, the renter in mind, right? The ultimate customer. How heavy is kind of their feedback, or maybe, I don't know, tools that you guys are tracking, heat mapping, or where they're clicking? Does that come into your decision versus like relying on what operators and your customers tell you they need?
Great.
How do you balance that?
Yeah. And I think you're asking really, what does the data say versus what is customers are telling you they want type of thing, and how do you balance it? We're always going to lean on data first. So, this is little caveat here. There's always a use case for something very specific. Anytime you're going to build something out for a SaaS product or a product as a whole that everyone is going to benefit from, that's part of the key here. So if an operator is saying like, hey, I would love this to be a little different in this way, or this feature would be super helpful for me, cool. Let's dig into that a little bit. Let's also see how we could scale it in a way that more people could benefit from that as well. Like, how do we make this something that is configurable so that anybody can log in and benefit from this innovation over here, right? So it's like almost like an ecosystem, or there's a word for this. There's like hey, everyone benefits from the innovation of everyone else that's on the platform too in some ways.
A community.
A community. Yes, that's so nice. I was thinking Reddit, but like not. Anyway, so there's that portion here. That the other piece is like going back to our mission statement, right? Like, how do we focus on what is it? Is this request actually going to move the needle forward to outperforming ourselves, really focusing on generating more revenue online? Is this something that is going to move that needle forward or push the envelope in a way we hadn't thought about, but also increases revenue for our operators? Like, it all comes back to that. So if it's, wow, that's really cool and a lot of people could benefit from that, but that's not related to your true website performance, like, I'm learning how to say no. Or like, that's a really good idea. Here's someone else that does that better and does that, like growing that partnership network within the industry to say like, okay, you're looking for somebody who's kick-ass at paid ads. Here's some information for some people that do that so well. Examples like that. You're looking for, I don't know. But it's going back to what you were saying earlier of narrowing down your expertise, getting really good at that, and partnering with other people who are doing the same thing in their own area, truly going to benefit the customer better. God, I ramble a lot, people.
Don't ramble.
Cool.
No, this is perfect.
Totally
That's great.
Totally wrong.
I mean, Mason, do you have anything on this end? Because I mean, we are on the daily talking about AI, so I definitely want to pick their brains on that end. Let's do it.
Building question, right? And yeah, I'm not sure if this is Amanda or an Austin question, but I'm really kind of curious around like the framework. All right, so you guys have, this idea that maybe comes internally, maybe it's a customer that's bringing this idea to you, even let's just take the checkout process. You guys are working on that checkout process. Like, what's the framework you guys are utilizing to go from idea to, actually this is the thing we're shipping today? Like, what's that look like for you? And this doesn't have, we could probably talk about this for like the next 15 hours, but like, so,
Yeah.
Encapsulate it in the next 3 minutes.
Ooh, putting a time on it. Oh, okay. I'll take this one because this is actually where my head was going when you asked earlier about mistakes, right? How we've learned so much in the last 4 years, right? Those things that are like, ooh, I wish I knew that 4 years ago, or ooh, it would have been helpful to have this built in from the very beginning. So that's at the foundation of the software in these ways. Like, those are the types of things that we're working on to say like, okay, we have this great opportunity here to be malleable or adaptable. Take the things that we've learned, apply it to software, and allow for us to scale faster. So when you ask us about like, okay, well, there's an idea here, this is also part of the transition that we've gone through. When we came to the industry, the changes that we needed to make were not necessarily data-driven related. There's so much just common knowledge or user experience out there to say like, okay, this experience is very different from every other e-commerce experience that's out there. The changes that needed to be made, or the changes that we made initially, very straightforward, very much like common sense almost. Now that we've made those changes and we have the data collecting on what we've built so far, how do we leverage that and kind of get a little bit more and more detailed about every new feature that goes out there? So when it comes to, all right, we're going to, it's not just we're going to rework the entire checkout flow and go from a 35-page checkout flow to a 2-page checkout flow to a 1-page checkout flow. Now it's like, okay, well, we're at 1 page. How do we really tweak the the structure of this, the order of the things that go in here, the different ways that people interact with this page. And it's just getting more and more detailed. So the process is changing a lot from, I guess, that initial, wait, this is very different, to, okay, now this is a little bit more in line with what the standard consumer uses. Now, how do we finesse this in a way that truly optimizes and allows for us to be more localized in the types of features too? Like one of the things I was talking roundtable, even, was it yesterday, or I think it might have been yesterday. What is time? At the North Carolina event, we were talking about like, okay, well, some markets are different, unique, right? So how can we leverage the fact that we know that the market within this facilities range is very largely populated by senior living homes, and all of them want a paper check, or they want a paper bill instead of having it emailed to them? Or how do we change the way that that facility operates a little bit different from the ones that are in a more business focus? Like they've got a lot of businesses that are coming in and out of their storage facility. If that's the case, like, okay, well, how could we potentially make it easy for those business owners to pay for package receiving every month? Like, oh, okay, we have a lot of people that are coming in that they just need an address and somebody to receive a package because they're not physically at their business address all the time. In the checkout flow, maybe we have a little option for people to add $20 a month to have unlimited package receiving or something like that. So now it's about really getting detailed about the individual features based on the data that we're collecting. And then it's also about how do we localize, which is going to come back to the question that you're going to eventually ask, probably, Rodolfo, about AI and SEO and all of that fun stuff. I think it's just all working toward a local level.
There's two kind of added specific things too that I really appreciate about our team. One, I don't know whoever said this the first time, but sure, everybody's heard this: weigh in equals buy in. And so, beta testing with certain clients that want to help us test a new feature too is really big for us. And we like that because it's people getting to use it and actually give us, real-time feedback instead of just, oh yeah, the idea of this, seems really well. The other thing that's great is we have folks on our team who even have operator experience, who are able to speak into things from an FMS standpoint and how that may integrate with our product, a use case scenario, and how an operator may actually have a really big need for this, or, decades of operator experience too now as a part of our team, not just us saying, well, we have decades of website and SEO experience, let's bring that to this industry. We have decades of owner operator experience also speaking in to any feature now from development, which is a really big thing for us. And also just what I love about our team in that aspect too is sometimes a client approaches us with a question about a feature, and because of that knowledge on our team, sometimes we're able to even educate them and say, hey, there's already a way to do this, within this FMS or something like that. We could scope doing something custom for you, which is another differentiator with us. We can do fully custom work, although we offer, a lot of empowering options for our customers and clients, but we can also do something, if it's essential to your business and you have to have this like custom feature, we can build that for you. But when it comes to these blanket approaches or things, several times throughout the year, we have a customer approach us and say, hey, I would really love to be able to do that. And we're able to say, hey, we could build you something like this, but here's an option to accomplish the same goal that you may not have even known existed. And that's very helpful just from a relational standpoint as well, not even the product.
Nice. I appreciate Austin, the beta approach. I don't know exactly. There's probably a combination of influences on myself when it comes to product, like, true lean startup methodology, whether that be MVP or, a common theme on the podcast and in my life is just how fanatical I am about Apple in general is this like constant iteration, right? And so like we look at, the iPhone 17 and we go, man, this thing is not that different from the iPhone 16. But like realistically, when we go back 15 years ago, and we look at Apple's like constant path of iteration and tweaking, it's pretty amazing to see that iteration happen. And I think very similarly, like in AI, like a system that is in the wild interacting is going to learn quicker than something that is just like stuck in, a test environment for however long. And really early on in Swivel days, when we were literally on the fly training, these systems for each operator, we use the term like a bot in the wild is going to learn better than us just constantly, having the team internally test. And so, being methodical about that, having data to track what that methodicalness looks like is very important, right? But like, I think one core like framework in my mind is I want to look back, at some time frame, 6 months, 12 months, and be really embarrassed by the thing that we shipped because we put it out there just a little early so that we could learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something actually that I've in the last year or so that I've personally struggled with. I'm a little bit living in the future, right? I'm working on what we're already doing that's going to be released in a little while, right? And I'm so excited about it, and I can see how everyone's going to benefit in so many different ways. Our team, our customers, and just the way that we'll be able to innovate even more quickly and more accurate with all the data that we can collect. And I come back to our current present day and I'm like, wow, this is still freaking fantastic. And I love it. And I'm so happy that we are still able to perform in the way that we do. We have such a great team servicing such a great product. My future self is like, oh my God, let's go.
All right,
So
so
that's been something.
tell us about it. What's the future look like, Amanda? Get in the time machine. Give us the crystal ball.
I've been hinting at it, I suppose, in a lot of different ways of just the nothing like super sexy from a front end standpoint. Well, okay, from like a consumer standpoint, in some ways, a lot of what I'm really excited about or nerding out about is the architecture itself that allows for us to integrate with all the FMS super quickly. And that's one of the things that I was like, oh, I wish I'd known this before. Of like the very first version of Storagely was built for SiteLink, and we're like, oh, well, we also have to build this for storage and SSM, like all of these other management softwares. How can we do that better so that we just build a feature once and it's across the board, ready to go for all of them, and things like that? That's not necessarily beautiful to the eye, but it's beautiful to my soul.
It's going to speed up our production time in general, right? Because then when we do launch a new feature, not even just a new integration, but a new feature for everybody, we don't have to build that new feature separately for each FMS, which is what we do now. A single page checkout for, Edge. Well, we also have to build it for SiteLink, and we also have to build it for SSM versus just being able to build it once and then it, going out. So the speed of how, quickly we're able to ship new features is kind of the point of part of the architecture that you're speaking of too. And user empowerment. There are a lot of people who don't want to manage their website, but want to know that they could, that it's not under lock and key, right? And there are a lot who do want to manage it. If you want to update a text or swap out an image or something like that, you don't want to have to go through a support channel to do that. And so there are a lot of things that we're doing behind the scenes now to continue to increase operator empowerment when it comes to using the and autonomy, I think is a good word to describe that, where if you want to rely on us, you can, but if you want to do it yourself, like we're going to make it really, really easy. And we're actually going to give you the tools to do it. So you don't feel like you're stuck relying on X, Y, and Z to move at whatever speed your business needs to move at, like right then and there too.
Yeah, I think that speaks to like what I'm excited about really does impact. What I'm excited about the most does impact all of these other newer things that we're also going to be working on. Like, how can I shift the focus of a facility page so that it's almost like an extension of your Google business profile instead of just a page on your website, right? Like, how do I integrate those two things a little bit better? And that has a cascading effect of like, okay, well, if that's the case, then we could onboard even more quickly. We can make sure that Google reviews are just so seamlessly integrated, and the relationship there between the actual on-site manager or whoever it is that's managing that particular location. How do we allow for that to be even more hyperlocal focused? And that's going to speak to, I think, the future trending of how people get found too. So that's like tip of the iceberg. You asked for a little teaser. I'm just going to stop talking. Lots of things that we can do. Nerded out about the architecture portion because it has that rippling effect of everything else that we're going to be able to do. It's very exciting.
I think something that we can mention as well is we're really, really working hard to make sure that owner operators can also add revenue in the form of like ancillary
I always say that wrong.
extra products,
That's a fun word. That's a
You
fun
know,
word.
upgrades, merch, supplies, things like that. I've actually been very surprised at how hard, if not an option at all, those things are, digitally right now for somebody to do. So even increasing the ability to expand the checkout for upsell opportunities and things like that, and just more value to, your renters that you're providing, at the end of the day. But
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, at the
one
end
more
of the
thing.
day, right? This is like if we can take like the lifetime value of a renter
yes,
and increase it by $10 a month because
absolutely.
they're doing some value add to it, like that's a lot of money
Yeah.
that
What if you
ultimately
could?
impacts the bottom line of an industry that's struggling with pricing and demand and rent right
Yeah.
this second.
It's like, what if you were able to add to your bottom line with, seen value instead of a hidden fee? That's,
Right.
hot take, but
Ooh.
that is something we want. I mean, some people, I feel like fees, I mean, are their only option at the time. So it's like, it's not a bad piece of the industry by any means. It's the fact that you need a solution and this is the only one. So that's a big thing, is like finding areas where there's only one solution. Maybe it's adding value, maybe it's not, but how can we add to that to give the operator more options, especially when it comes, like you said, the lifetime value. I mean, that's huge.
The other piece too is like looking at this from a how do we architect this software in a way that is truly going to benefit enterprise level businesses, right? That one of the things that I've learned is the relationships between, or we've got a third party management company that manages 1 trillion brands, and there's ownership groups that might cross over between different brands, and there's different. Trillion would be, maybe that's excessive, but a lot,
I'm
a
kidding.
great many. But it feels like 1 trillion when you have to be doing things so manually.
Yes.
So how can I architect this in a way that it's going to benefit our customers, because it makes it super easy for them to manage the different groups and the different access levels and all of those types of things.
What I'm hearing you say is we're the best option for really, really
Really,
large
really, really.
operators with lots of facilities, right?
That trillion location operator out there.
Dude, that word they use, operator empowerment. It's gonna be a section on the footnotes. I like that. So just to keep this going, because I know we're getting to that time, but I do want to bring up AI and everything that's going to Hot Topic. I'm just like wanting to dive into how you guys like ensure Storagely stays ahead of such kind of fast moving trends. We all know it's moving quickly, specifically for you guys in websites and everything that's going on with generative search. Do you imagine a future where a renter asks a voice assistant or whatever other assistant for storage and it bypasses traditional Google search? How are you guys thinking about that, and how is that affecting kind of what you're building?
I don't think we have to imagine it. Even somebody said told a joke the other day. I don't remember where it was from, but they were making fun of people, basically my age and older. I'll out myself there, and how they basically just use Chat GPT like Google, right? They just put a question there, get an answer. So we're there as far as people using search to find whatever they want near them. And I think one of the biggest changes that we have made, that I believe is going to keep us on the front end there. We've mentioned that we have years of experience in SEO, and in general. So we know how to help you show up, in a regular search engine. So one of the things that we've been doing is asking ourselves the question and implementing things and saying, how can we take what is generally seen as extra things that you would do on top of having a website to show up well here, or what can we do from an SEO standpoint that is actually embedded into our product, right? And a lot of those steps that we're saying, what can we embed into our product here that is going to, affect it showing up or being served to people no matter where they're searching, whether it's, AI tool or search engine. What can we do to make sure that happens? Part of it is embedding, certain things into the product. The other thing too, that is a question that we're asking right now, and then honestly, we're seeing a lot of people in the front lines that seems to be part of that innovative piece there too, is how to measure or show whether or not you're doing good or bad in that department, right? You can look at Google keyword rankings. So how are we going to be able to show someone what their generative or GEO, not SEO performance is actually doing as well? So everybody knows if you're moving up or down. You can actually see some type of measurable result to know whether or not what you're doing is working versus just hoping it is. So we're not saying that we have, all of that nailed down and we're about to roll out some, new dashboard with all these lines and graphs on it showing that. But those are some of the questions that we're asking ourselves and saying, how do we prepare not to take the guesswork out of it for our customers? So
realistically, you guys have to wait till Google figures out how to monetize it before you guys understand how they're going to rank it, right?
Also true, yeah.
This is my hot take alert. Alert. Cue another one of your video things.
Right.
Just
hot take alert.
Hot take. I think at this point, SEO and GEO honestly aren't all that different. I think a lot of it's just coming down to, we've always said to our clients, content is king, right? So how do you structure your content? Whether it's a human that's crawling your site, whether it's a bot that's crawling your site, the more content that's on your site that's hyper focused on I'm using the word hyper a lot, but like locally focused and targeting the words that people are searching, the different phrases that people are searching, the different ways that people are searching. The concept is the same. It's a search volume by an AI crawler versus a human. There's just going to be more content that can be relevant and help you get found in the ways that you want to be found. So I do think there's obviously some differences there, but generally speaking, I don't think it's all that much different. And then to speak to how we're doing that with the product, this also goes to future Amanda, who's like, oh gosh, the way that we're componentizing literally every little thing makes it easier for us to adapt, makes it easier for us to, this new thing came out or AI is impacting these things in a way that we weren't anticipating. Super easy to move around lots of little parts than one very large piece of software that you need to manually break up into different things, right? I'm not a developer. I'm not speaking in the right terms. That Mason's like, this is killing me. But the concept is, right, you're more malleable, the more variables that you have to be able to work with from the ground up, optimizing for SEO and AI, just being prepared for whatever that takes us. So that's all. That's a hot take. Yeah. SEO and GEO, are they super, super, super different? Or do they?
I mean, at the end of the day, something is indexing something, right? And so like in order for it to index something, you've got to have like a demand presence, and maybe it's not keyword optimization, but you have to have some type of a authorization, right? That these systems can go, hey, this is somebody that we can trust. This is data that we can trust and we can pull from and showcase it to somebody, right? Rodolfo, are there any other kind of topics that you want to dive into on the AI front outside of before we jump into like rapid fire round and start getting Amanda and Austin in the hot seat with like really quick questions here?
I think let's go for it. This is the fun part.
Awesome. I'm going to start with kind of y'all's morning routine. Like, what gets you going in the day? Like, what's that morning routine look like for both of you guys?
I want to hear Austin's first.
Well, I have 3 kids, so my morning routine revolves around them.
Chaos,
mass chaos. Yep. It's definitely more chaotic when school is in session, for sure. But 3 kids, 2 dogs, a whole morning routine.
One of them's a puppy too.
Yeah, one of them's a puppy too. So I've got like a whole morning routine before my morning routine. So I wish I could say right now that I wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym every day and, really, really get my brain in the right spot. But right now it looks like getting the kids to school and not changing out of my pajamas if I'm working from home that day and drinking like 3 cups of coffee. That's just where I'm at right now.
It works. Whatever the hell it is. I'm glad you asked this question because maybe I ought to try that.
I do go to the gym later sometimes. So yes. I just want to
everyone, Austin goes to the gym.
Sometimes.
Yes. Me. I have 2 small children and try to get myself together before they wake up so that I can my favorite is when I can read them books before we even have breakfast because I feel like that's a good way to go.
I should not have gone first.
Yeah.
Read them books before breakfast. Hey, I'm just trying to keep them alive.
Listen, somebody
to get them into
that's amazing.
Ebooks. Anybody that has children that doesn't have about moles, it's Mo Willems, elephant and piggy
Sorry,
bucks.
I didn't realize this was a competition.
We can fight about it later. No, if I'm not put together before my children get up, it is absolute chaos. So I just try to be awake and like present. And then when we read, it just makes the rest of the morning easier. But seriously, if any of you have small children and looking for a book series, The Elephant and Piggy Books by Mo Willems or The Day the Crayons Quit series, you know what? You don't have to have children. Just go get it. Have a good time.
There'll be a link in the show notes.
There'll be a link. I mean, I'm not even sponsored. Anyway, yeah, breakfast, get the kids out the door. I think the morning routine really starts at night, right? Like you got to just kind of think through the day that's coming up so that when you wake up, it's not like, what am I doing? Where am I going? Not saying I do that.
Both of you have a lot of little kids running around. One of you is a little bit more chaotic and the other one's reading books. But like the next question here is like, you've got the family, you've got the startup. What keeps you guys grounded? What are you doing to love on yourselves and make sure that you guys show up as the best versions of yourself every single day?
Yeah, so I learned to say no a lot. I got good at that at some point. I don't know when. I ride this fine line all the time between saying no to be very protective of my family, mental health and stuff in general too, but then also saying yes enough so that the people who care for me in life, I'm also able to care for too. I've got a good circle of friends and things like that. Honestly, me and my wife both, we have a really great circle of friends that keep us grounded. I tell them all the time, there in times that I can't think for myself, sometimes I need people around me who can think for me. And that's what I lean into my friends for. Also, therapy is great.
Therapy is great.
Me and my wife honestly do therapy too. And it doesn't mean anything's wrong with you or wrong in a relationship. Yeah. It's helpful. It's the best. Mental health is a big deal, especially especially if you're going to.
Was that a gerund?
Yeah, I know. Need to show up for your team. Anybody in an executive role, you've got to be healthy and take care of yourself. So anyway, learning what to say yes to and what to say no to, therapy, good friends, great music too. Even if the morning's chaotic, if my wife is up, we're a musical family and there will be some sort of mix playing,
He says we're a musical family. These people, Austin, they're like on The Voice. His wife was like on the final rounds of The Voice.
We've all been on TV.
What do you mean?
All that stuff
We're
too.
a musical family.
We are.
Oh my God. All right. That's another topic to discuss.
Yeah, we can talk
Grounded.
about that.
How do you stay grounded?
Boy. Always learning on this one. Cause I think, just trying to be more present in general. It can be very easy to be that future Amanda self of like, oh, I see this and I'm working toward this. And even the choice, I haven't been reading too much recently because again, what is time? But like
I've been reading Slack.
No, emails, which I need anyway. Choosing the books that are just enjoyable instead of, oh, I need to improve in this area. Let me read a book about this and implement these things. Like, okay, well, maybe I could just read a book for fun, right? Like there's no pressure here. Or for me, mental health is very connected to physical health. So if I don't get the workout in at night, like that decompression time of, okay, I'm going to have a night shift for work, but before that night shift, let me just, bust out a quick class with a Peloton or something, like just something that's a physical release of that to move forward. So I don't know that I'm qualified to answer this very well, but those are my answers, and I fully agree with everything else.
I got one follow-up question for each of you.
You're grounded. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I've got one follow-up question for each of you.
Wait a minute. What is you?
Mine? I'm a night owl, and so I have much more of a night routine than I have a morning routine. And so at night, I work out. I come home. I probably do another 45 minutes of Zen yoga, so like really long held poses. I take Zero out for a walk. I slow down to make sure that I have a little bit of time to eat dinner with friends, family, loved ones. And then I'm probably checking, Slack and emails and getting some deep concentrated alone work right before I start wrapping up with something. I love to watch like a show or sporting event to kind of decompress. And then every day I pre-make coffee at night, and so that the coffee maker is ready for me to wake up in the morning. And in the morning, like I'm not the biggest morning person, so I want that morning to be easy. I wake up, I make my bed every single day, even in a hotel room, and then I hit the coffee maker. I take Zero out for a walk, and then just immediately sit down at a computer and start chasing fires.
You just wake up and you just take the day by the horns. And
Well, I mean, you know, I don't have the kids
but
running
that
around
starts
like
at
you guys
11,
do. So
12, 1?
no, not 11 or
okay.
12. I'm not waking up at 11 or 12. I'm waking up at like 9. All
Okay,
right. So
that's fair.
follow up questions very specifically for Amanda, really quick. Favorite Peloton instructor?
Ooh, okay. Ooh, this is fun. Are we talking about a spin class? Because Jess King, her playlists take me, I transcend. It's another level.
Nice.
Jess King,
There you
20 out of
go.
10. Weights, Adrian Williams. He
Nice.
is intimidating as hell, funny as hell, and I like the structure of his workouts. Yoga. Did you want to know all of these?
Sure. Yeah, go. It's supposed to be rapid fire, but like, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I think that's good. That's a well-rounded.
That's awesome.
If
All
I
right,
start to think
specific
about
for
it more, there'll be
Austin.
more.
Specific for Austin, first concert and favorite concert.
Oh man. Okay, so first concert. Nobody is really going to get this unless you understand my upbringing. My dad is a pastor. He's been a pastor for a long time. I'm a preacher's kid, and so I was raised very conservatively. You can probably tell that by all the tattoos that cover my body now.
And your hat that says
and my hat that says tattoos are trashy. So my first concert with this was a band called New Song, that is a contemporary Christian band. Honestly, they're phenomenal still, as far as the skill level. Great vocalists. Still have huge respect for them, although I don't actively really listen to them anymore. That was my first concert, though. Favorite, oh God. I'm going to say the best show I've ever been to, and I've seen him several times, is Alan Stone.
If you hear in the mic, I whispered Alan Stone. I knew he was going to say
it's yeah, Alan is one of my heroes from a musical standpoint. I'll never be able to sing like him. He's got such an amazing voice. But if you ever get a chance to go to an Alan Stone concert, go to an Alan Stone concert. It is so good.
I also recommend Hermanos Gutierrez. They just came to Winston. He had a concert that night, so he still plays.
I do.
And that's why his hair's bleached.
Yeah, I actually dyed my hair for a show that I played. I don't normally look like this all the time. I used to 15 years ago.
Yeah, everyone should Google Austin Simmons.
Don't do that. No, don't do that. This was my rapid fire.
We're Googling right now.
No.
I'm going to maybe post a picture.
Before this episode airs, I'm taking a
season assist. Yeah. All right, I have a quick one from like Storagely's side, or maybe, you know, I guess rapid fire, you guys can take it however you want. Where do you look for inspiration or new ideas, like outside of what you're doing, that contributes to what you're doing, at least, outside of self-storage? Any authors, entrepreneurs, any other companies outside the industry? I
mean, we have to say Apple because they sponsored us today. Right? Seriously about Apple, of course.
JK.
I think honestly, it's giving myself the space to like let my brain be away from this a little bit. Just giving those little doses of fresh perspective is helpful. Talking to other operators and really hanging out with you guys, or just talking about what you guys are going through, is also inspiring to me to be like, okay, well, I love how they're thinking about this. It reminds me of this over here. How do I apply this excitement in this way that's beneficial to our customers, and focused on those things? So music, books, being outside, all of these things that we were talking about, it's kind of the same conversation for me, I guess.
I think I really expect like sharing stories, right? Like you're not alone in it. Everyone's kind of going through something or thinking about, you know, somewhere or another, and that water cooler talk, right? Nice.
Yeah, listen,
awesome.
I'm keeping a mental note of all the questions you've asked us that you haven't answered yet, and we will be sharing those stories.
I knew you were doing that.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, me being having a large creative background, I look to constantly be inspired, or else, you know, you feel like you just get writer's block in a sense for whatever you're trying to accomplish. With leadership and things in general, with the role that I'm at as far as the chief of staff at Storagely, I get a lot of inspiration from stories about bad companies and bad bosses. Honestly, I love it. It's like watching a reality TV.
Interesting.
Trash TV.
He loves
I love trash TV.
Is that a new TV show idea? Reality TV show idea? Maybe.
It could be.
All right. Write it down.
But you know, whether it's music, I mean, photos, I love advertising. I love diving into messaging, and I mean, we'll share Amanda, other people from the company. I mean, all the time we'll be sharing videos on social media or LinkedIn. And it could be from a landscaping company, and it's like, oh my gosh, look at what they did, or look at how they described this. How can we do that for what we do, or how can we bring this type of messaging to our customers, or empower them to think outside the box in this lane or that. So we're always actively looking to be inspired. I think that's a key. I think you have to kind of just keep your eyes open. And somebody explained it one time from a songwriting perspective of their ideas that just constantly are flying overhead, and anybody could get the same one. It just depends on who reaches up and snags that. And that's kind of how
Love that.
Organizational inspiration too. Like the ideas are there for all of us. But like, who's looking for them? Like, who's actively pursuing to be inspired? And those are the people who will get it. So,
Dude, this guy has the most insane list of random facts there ever was, ever. Like, he could pull out this ad that was from 1995.
Yeah.
It's like that movie Slumdog Millionaire, just like being able to answer all the right questions. Austin Ogilvy on Advertising, one of my favorite books for like copywriting ideas, and just kind of like what got me into getting my head wrapped around. So that's really nice. There's something else, but so many good tangents here. All right, last one, I promise. Alternate universe. If you guys weren't doing Storagely, what would Amanda and Austin be doing right now?
I can't imagine my life without Storage.
I got an easy answer.
I need a minute.
I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
Touring musician.
All right.
Easy. I mean, I've done that.
You're already kind of doing it, but yeah.
Yeah, I've done that all my life. I still do work in the creative space too, for friends and other artists, that do tour stuff, whether it's advertising or actual like tour photography, design, promotion, stuff like that. I kind of live in both worlds there a little bit. The downside, or I would say the alternate universe requisite for me to do that, though, is that I would be able to take my family with me. I do not want to
be
gone
really
for 10 months out of the
RV.
year, and yeah, I'd have to be
private jet, nice
Right.
RV. Okay.
Right.
Of course, if you're going to do it, you got to do it big. So
I do actually have an answer. My thought process of touring is very different from yours, but it'd be so cool to just work with some type of like foodie that's like, I'm going to travel the world and find all of these different incredible places to eat and judge that.
a traveling food critic.
Except I'm not the critic. I'm the photographer for the food critic.
Nice.
Right. So I just get to like eat the good food and take pictures of the pretty food, and everywhere, all over. That's it.
It's great.
That's perfect.
Your turn.
I was thinking I would be the food critic for sure, or have a James Beard food truck pizza spot. Because why not?
Speaking of James Beard, have you gone to Hef's?
Not yet. No. And
we're name dropping on a bunch of things that we're gonna have to put on the notes.
I alert them online all the time, and I still have yet to go.
Me neither. Hey,
today
lunch anyway?
Today.
Okay.
Dang, that sounds really good. All right, guys. I think this is pretty good. I think this is a good place to stop. I think that's a wrap.
Cool.
This is amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show. And I think I had so many other questions that I think we can get into. So there might be a part 2 at some point in the future. Excited to see the new releases on the product side and where you guys are going. But again, really appreciate you guys being here. One last thing, like, where can people find you? Any last bits of information that you want to share?
The internet is always a place to go, but most of the time you can see us have many shows. Not the rest of the year, though. We've wrapped up our last shows. Next time will be the beginning of the year, where there's a lot of cool things.
Storagely.io.
Storagely.io. Austin's cell phone number is
right, 555.
75. No, nobody.
I knew where you were. I wasn't gonna support that.
No. Anyway.
All right, guys. You guys are too fun. All right.
thanks so much. And I'll
Thank you,
catch you
guys.
guys at some
Thank
point.
you guys.
Thank
All right.
you.
See ya.
Bye.